Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm John. This is Many a True Nerd, and this is Fallout 3 Kill Everything. And as you can see, we're taking full advantage of that wonderful Chinese stealth armour we picked up last time. But today I promised you we were going to do some mop-up, a bit of mop-up of survivors, and we're going to do that. But I figured out a slightly better way of structuring this, which is this is also going to be a rare example of Many a True Nerd doing something that's actually useful, and we're going to make it like a bit of a how-to. A bit of a how to find some of the best weapons in the game, because I realised by coincidence that some of the best weapons in the entire Capital Wasteland we haven't found yet, and plenty of them are hidden in the same locations as locations we've yet to clear out. So that is very, very convenient indeed. So you'll probably notice that we're approaching this this shack. This is the Sniper's Shack, or well, it's called the Abandoned Shack when you go up to it, but it's generally referred to as the Sniper's Shack because of its location. And for another reason we'll get to in a second. This is where we are, incidentally, so that's Vault 87 little lamp light, so there we are relative to them, and Rockbreaker's Last Gas and the 5 Axles Rest Stop, the kind of closest areas. This is an unmarked location close by to them on top of this hill. So just pop in here. And we will find a couple of, well, there's a few really interesting bits in here. First things first, the only named rad roaches in the game. Say hello to Fluffy and Jitters. You can let them out, but they are hostile, so I'm not even going to bother. Bye, Fluffy. Bye, Jitters. So they were named characters, which means, as far as I'm concerned, they definitely do have to. They definitely do have to die. They definitely have to die. But there's two other great things in here as well, aside from two named characters, which is, firstly, you'll find a locker in here, which is locked very hard, and there's no way around this. There's no key hidden in here. You just have to be very hard. So let's just crack that open quickly. There we go, got him. And we will find something very important here. Aside from 16 darts, we will find the Victory Rifle. Victory Rifle, which is this game's unique sniper rifle. So let's just quickly fix that up with our own sniper rifle. So here's the full strength Victory Rifle at damage 52. So you'll probably notice that's not actually, that's not that good. In fact, that's actually exactly as powerful as a normal sniper rifle. But there are advantages to the Victory Rifle, and we will get onto those in just a second. But before we do that, well, let's do a bit more looting. You'll also find a guns and bullets in here that I don't need because my gun's already maxed. A pre-war book, so loads of money from the Brotherhood if you haven't killed them. Perhaps most importantly of all, there's a Keller family transcript here for the 4th of the 5th is present here. Now, you may recall that we actually found a couple of these already. There's one at the Grizzly Diner that we ran into in a previous part, and there was another one near to Dukov's place in a small camp. So this is, well, it says there's 5, but you only actually need 4 of them. You don't actually need all 5 at all. So let's just turn that on as we head back outside.
Ralphie, son, this is your father. We can't get into the goddamn vault without you. Get your ass over here now. My 4 is useless without you, boy.
But yeah, well, of course, we've already heard the note from the son, who was outside that note was outside Dukov's place. And oh, hello, hello, Regulator. Right, Regulator's dealt with there. Worthy of note, this is apparently a Regulator spawn point. Obviously, we know that the son actually preferred to die than spend the rest of his life locked in a small room with his father, so clearly some small family problems there. Ooh, pretty, by the way. But we've also got a really nice location here for showing off why the Victory Rifle is so much better than the normal sniper rifle, which is, you'll notice we've got down there, little Enclave soldiers decided to have a runabout, together with his pet sentry bot. Now, not only is the Victory Rifle does only as much damage as a normal sniper rifle, it's actually got a lower chance of doing a critical hit. So, what is good about it? Well, when it does get a critical hit, it causes a knockdown to occur. So it'll actually knock someone off their feet. And that is good, because obviously, though the critical chance in combat is lower, you're guaranteed a critical chance if you take someone with a surprise hit. And obviously, we can guarantee a surprise hit if you're hidden, and if you happen to have armour that's infinite stealth field, well, you're in great shape, aren't you? So, let's just do that. So, there you see, he just fell down for a second there, which is extremely useful. The question is, does that work on the sentry bot too? You can see there the sentry bot in his knocked down position, making him very easy to just follow up with a few more shots. Now, while we're on the Keller family transcripts, as we've already got 3 of them, next we'll be making a stop to this church up here. This church is pretty much directly north of Big Town, so pretty easy to get to. You should have found this very early in the game. And let's just run in and take care of the issues around here. No need for stealth here, it's just some super mutants, so even if there's overlords, I'm not so worried. Yep, it's masters here. There's one master, one centaur, one master who's really struggling with the concept of windows. Not working out for him. And one overlord. There we are. Shoot it out of his hands. By the time he's picked it up again, he is dead. So that lets us get inside the church. A couple of normal supplies, nothing too major in here. You can pick some ammo up. Obviously you have a Wasteland captive. Wasteland captive who technically has nothing to fear anymore. Because we've taken care of Vault 87, which is where they would have taken her otherwise. So she's completely safe. From everyone but me, obviously. And then if we just head round the back to the little lectern in this church, mysteriously you'll find a big book of science. So whoever the priest was here, he was actually secretly a secular rationalist. So there you go. And there you'll also find the Keller family transcript 205. Let's just give that a quick listen.
Paul, it's me, Tina. I heard back from my sister Candace. We couldn't get into a vault. 101, 87, didn't matter. All full to capacity. But my brother Alex is a soldier and he sort of stole the passcode for a secure army bunker. He did it for the family, but they caught him. Before they took him into custody, Alex, he sent us each one number of the 4-digit code. That way we all have to be together to get in. He gave me number 5, the day of my birth. So, I guess what I'm saying is, I'm still leaving. It's been fun. Kind of. Oh, and I'm not pregnant, so no worries.
So there we are. With that, we've got all of the codes that we need. Now, as for where you want to bring these transcripts, you'll find the National Guard depot on the outskirts of DC. You actually approach this from the outside DC rather than through the metro system. So the easiest way to do it is go to Canterbury Common and head due south. It's really easy to see because there's this big parking lot full of army trucks. So if you just look for these army trucks and then this massive National Guard depot, American flag and enlist today sign, and there's also a couple of Protectrons who I've already murdered. So you know you'll be they'll kind of shoot at you, so they'll let you know you're in the right place. So inside the guard depot itself, have an explore around the long way round, just kind of going for all the doors. It's fairly linear, and you'll eventually find your way to an electrical switch. Flick that and you'll see some flickering back in the main area. You can't do this straight away, you do have to go the long way round to get up here. And then once you flick that switch, you can just drop down the hole through here. You'll be back in the front area. Don't worry, that guy is already dead. Promise. Once that's done, you can hop down here. I think there's a few more guys I think I saw. Hello. So, with that big flashy yellow flashy door open, you can now activate another electrical switch and head downstairs. And you will be able to enter the National Guard Armory, which obviously sounds like an exciting place to be. In here, you'll find yet more flipping electrical switches. And you will finally find roughly where we want it to be. Firstly, we'll find a room full of supplies, which is great and well worth looting. I also like the fact it's all nicely laid out and stacked. It's all properly arranged. Particularly these missiles, all neatly lined up. Excellent. Oh, yeah, I'll have all of these. And a missile launcher and, you know, medical supplies and purified water. Obviously, lots of fresh drinking water has been left here, and batons and grenades. It's lovely. I just think it's a really nice touch. And obviously, there's enough armour and helmets and radiation supplies and ammo. Oh, I like it. I like the fact, obviously, you're in the military depot and everything is obviously neatly laid out like it was a military organisation, which is lovely. And drugs, for obvious reasons. Obviously, I don't know why they've got Buff Out. I think Buff Out's a drug anyway. I don't know. Maybe I'm being unfair. Maybe Buff Out was a legitimate a legitimate thing that people just used. It was just a military thing rather than a recreational drug thing. Not sure. Also very important, worth coming down here for, there's the small guns bobblehead down here, which obviously I don't actually need, but, you know, we'll have it, because it's easier to have courage from a safe distance away. Yes, I play with Doll's achievement. Apparently most playthroughs I don't actually bother collecting all this stuff. So there you go. Finally, we'll be able to activate the bunker access terminal. And thanks to the access code we've got from those 4 codes, you don't have to enter the code, it just activates it. We find out what happened to the Keller family. And would you believe, this being Fallout 3, it's not good news. It's not good news at all. So we'll just have a look inside. And there is a glowing one in here. There's a glowing one. And what else is in here? Some skeletons. Some skeletons are in here. So, admittedly, there are 4 skeletons in here, and they did get in. So I'm assuming that meant the son who left the message that said he'd rather die than spend the rest of his life trapped in this tiny little underground room. I assume that means he came around, but unfortunately, it would seem that one of them was already irradiated and turned into a feral ghoul and killed all the others. But there is obviously a very important reason why we come in here, aside from, you know, just to observe the tragic waste of life. And that is this rather wonderful... Am I floating right now? Oh, I'm standing on a generator. Excellent. This rather wonderful experimental weapon. This is the unique Fat Man. You might be thinking, if you don't know this game, well, you know, that's not that good. I mean, sure, you've got some mini nukes, and that's great, and the Fat Man's a fun weapon, but isn't the Fat Man already powerful enough, John? Do you really need a unique variant of it? Yes. Yes, I do, because this fires 8 mini nukes at once. There we are. Damage 1,701. Excellent. That's the sort of damage I think we need to be looking at here. It's also quite light for given its how insanely powerful it is. It's only weight 30, so I think that's actually pretty good result. Really fun other fact about this area actually. If you look at the food that's stored in the fridge, you'll notice that even though it's the same food that you find out in the Wasteland, this food is RADS +0. It's because it's unirradiated food. It was food that predated the bombs falling, so that's nice. So that done, I'm just going to nip outside and I'm just going to show you what this weapon does, because this weapon is pretty much the epitome of insanity. There's pretty much no scenario in the entire game you'd ever want to use this weapon. So conveniently, I was planning to make a visit to Evergreen Mills anyway, so this is as good a time as any to show you just what happens when you fire the experimental Fat Man thingy. And our target is that guy. That guy who's over there on that roof. I'm moderately confident he just died, but I'm not actually going to allow that to stand, because that's 8 mini nukes we've had to use up, and that means I can't even fire again because I only have 6 more, because I had 14 total. But we will save this. We will save this for something useful. So we're back on this overlook, being, you know, cool and spy-like and invisible. And the reason I didn't want that to stand anyway is because, of course, you're probably aware there's something much cooler that you can do over here in an Evergreen Mills, which is, you'll notice that there is an electric fence over there. And if I just take a couple of shots at that, you'll notice that the fence is no longer electric, and there is now a super mutant floating around, who I want to actually be on the side of that guy. Oi, why did you just move? Okay, we're just finishing people off slowly, and we'll just let him do his business. No need to hurry. No need really to help him that much. Even an unarmed guy, even though he looks like he's got no weapons at all, he can take care of business very nicely. He can take out the guys on the ground fairly easily. I can help though. And I think he's now killed everyone around here. So, you know what? Live and let live. Let's just have a little explore in this area. No need to finish him off too quickly. He might well stumble across someone else yet. So we wouldn't want to disturb him before he does that. Now I just want to test out how good this field is quickly, because here we are. It's broad daylight. I am creeping, and I've got my armour on, and I'm just going to see how close you're allowed to get to that guy before he actually spots me. Wow. Detected? Ah! He detected me before even doing anything. Excellent. Also, where the heck did the super mutant go? I think he might have just wandered off into freedom. Alright then. Fair enough. I'll go and have a look for it later. Excellent. Now, another really fun thing about Evergreen Mills. The slaves. If you open the doors, having killed all the slavers, or allowed all the slavers to be killed, he just says, why bother? Then starts weeping, having just been, you know, released from slavery. Oh, this one actually runs for it. Oh, what the? No. Why? Wait, what? That's not the way freedom is. That's a dead end. Where the heck are you people going? You just...
Put that down, would you?
Oh wow, are you doing an armata? Are you doing an armata? Are you just... Oi.
Where could we go even if we did escape? We just die in the wasteland.
Well, I'm going to be honest, mate. If you stay here, you're going to die. So you've got to count to 3 to start running and looking happy. 2. Alright, fine. So yeah, mysteriously the slaves, if you release them, they will occasionally just run up to the person who's the slave master, even if he's already dead, which is weird. And yeah, then they'll just comment that there's no point them trying to get to freedom because they'll just die out in the wasteland, so... Pfft. Okay, after fast travelling backwards and forwards a bit, we managed to get the super mutant back, which is good. So that's okay. I'm really not too worried about him at this point. I think he's actually can't do that much to me. In fact, we're gonna beat him to death. Go on, Evil Jon, you can do it. Oh! Oh, punch right to the leg. I'm inside him. Yeah, that's right, just keep punching him till his limbs fall off. Now that done, we just want to head inside the foundry itself. There's nothing massively interesting inside the foundry for the most part. It's mainly just, you know, raiders as usual. So I will just blast my way through here, and I will meet you at the next interesting bit. Head up to the very top of the first building, you'll find a fat man, by the way, which is kind of useful, but, you know, as we've now got the unique fat man variant, it's not that great. I should point out, by the way, the normal fat man does about 1,000 damage. The unique variant does about, fully, when it's at max health, about 1,800, but that's each. So it's actually more like 10,000 damage. But yes, the way we really want to go is into the bazaar. The bazaar's pretty cool, by the way, with the fairy lights and everything. It's actually a really cool little area, but it is well worth doing subtly, because at least one enemy in here will have a missile launcher. I think that's always true, no matter what level you come at, there's always a missile launcher here. So be careful. Also, I love the big dice at the top. Though there's because you can't ally yourself with the raiders, you can never join them and you can never make them not hostile. Sadly, you can't actually play with this area at all. But it is, I think this area is kind of fun because this is kind of the one area where you actually see the raiders actually having like a society. I'm also just kind of doing this area this particular way with the victory rifle, partly because it helps show off just how much the stealth armour really transforms this game. Because the moment you can be permanently kind of semi-invisible, and as you kind of saw outside, it's pretty good invisibility. It really does change the game fairly dramatically, insofar as enemies just will not see you a lot of the time. Okay, here we are. One more raider. The barman, in fact. Let's just let him... There we go. He's down. Mysteriously, the raiders seem kind of pretty not bothered about the whole, you know, their own are clearly being picked off one by some sort of invisible sniper. This is a very cool area, by the way. Though it's kind of, I don't think it's ever explicitly stated. This is, of course, the strip joint and brothel for the raiders. You can see, obviously, there's the stripper poles on the stages. There's also a teddy bear who, I don't know, may have been used in an act, may have just been getting a free lap dance. Essentially, this is the red light district. Hang on a sec. Yeah, this is definitely the red light district, as this is female mannequins with red lights on their boobs. So yes, welcome to the red light district. As you notice, all the raiders up here are of the female variety. And as you can see, there's clothes left here, so someone had clearly come in here and taken their clothes off. Also, I'd never noticed this before. The little form with multiple options on the back of the on the side of the bed. I think that's kind of a feedback form. Like, did you enjoy your prostitute this evening? Is there anything your prostitute could have done that would have made the stay better? Well, I joke. I'm not sure that could be a thing. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to let you into a very personal element of my life here, which is I've never actually employed the services of a prostitute. Which perhaps maybe you'd already just been assuming. Hopefully you'd been assuming. Using the Madame's key, just, yeah, more clear evidence that this is actually a brothel. There's one of the raiders, though I'm not sure she's actually, are any of the raiders actually identified as a Madame? I'm not sure they're actually, any of them actually are, but certainly one of them is holding the Madame's key, which opens up the cash register. A few more beds with a couple of bottles of beer and a harmonica. For those people who, you know, want to kind of stop halfway through their time with a prostitute in order to just do a little harmonica song. This girl's inside a locked room. I'm assuming her last client gave her unsatisfactory remarks on the tick forms. We can open the cell door with the tricycle. It's just a tricycle. Again. Never employed the services. Never been to a brothel myself, full stop. But I don't know. When you go, do they say, hey, do you have any special requests? And is a common one, would you happen to have a tricycle? I've got a bit of a thing for tricycles, you see. To which, of course, the Madame replies, of course, sir, we'll have the tricycle prepared for you momentarily. Now, would you also be interested in a bit of extra harmonica music during the tricycling? And if the gentleman says no, conveniently there is a paint gun in the toolbox. Magnificent, a paint gun. So, you know, if you're into tricycles, paint guns, and harmonica solos, then check out the Madame's brothel up in Evergreen Mills, because that has everything you could want, as well as, yes, red light bulb honkiness. As I say, this is all just me making stuff off the top of my head. For all I know, that's what it's like. You go to Amsterdam for a stag weekend, that's actually what happens. Could well be. Now, conveniently, there's a trader here. Hello, Smiling Jack. And even though you can kill people in front of him, he'll never turn on you. But you don't want to speak to him straight away, because you want to go into his back room, where there is a workbench and a bottle cap mine you can help yourself to. Because if you head into his back room, you will find the barter bobblehead. And that's convenient, because that's literally the only bobblehead I can pick up at this point that actually does anything for me. So that's good. Conveniently, all of this stuff is, obviously, you'll notice, none of it's marked in red. It's all marked in yellow, so you're welcome to help yourself. So this is possibly why he's called Smiling Jack, because he really doesn't mind you nicking his stuff right in front of him and then selling it right back to him. So, yeah, if you speak to him...
Shh, not too loud. I don't really want people to know that we're doing business.
I've got good news about that, because there's not really people anymore. And that's all fine. But obviously there's something much more important, which is he may look like he's holding a combat shotgun. He's not. He's holding the unique variant of the combat shotgun, which is insanely wonderful. So let's just take care of him quickly. Incidentally, you can't even pickpocket it off him. It's not in his inventory, so there's no choice but to do it this way. So let's just quickly nail his head to the wall. Quite literally. Love the fact that this is now what we do. This is now our thing. Interesting fact, when you've nailed someone's face to the wall, you can't actually interact with that head anymore. Normally, obviously, when a bit is scattered around, so even if you've moved his leg far away, you can still search that to access all the infantry. At the moment that happens, you can't anymore, which is interesting. So you can have the shotgun shells, 69 shotgun shells, his key obviously, but most importantly, you get the terrible shotgun, which you'll probably notice is already 76 damage when it's not even in good condition, which is amazing. So we've just repaired that up to max, or very close to max. 94 damage. 94 damage this thing does. Just absolutely amazing, this thing. It's insanely powerful. It's really weird how he says, oh, I don't mind, you know. I find it very strange how he does say, oh, just don't tell the others and I'll trade you. It's like, all the others are hostile to you. They can never not be hostile to you. Literally, the only way you could be speaking to him before you've already killed everyone is if either you've managed to use stealth boys to sneak your way in, or you've managed to just avoid, like, say, the people in the brothel at the far end. That's the only really bit of the level you might possibly not have done yet. So, I don't know. It's a bit weird to me. But that's all we need from Evergreen Mills, really. We've murdered everyone here, and more importantly, we have got the terrible shotgun, which really does live up to its name. It's a fantastic weapon, and in fact, it will be probably one of my go-to weapons from now on, because obviously the advantage of the this particular weapon is lots of enemies, especially lots of raiders just carrying combat shotguns, so I can repair it really easily without having to go into my alien epoxy things. So, one thing that's near Fort Constantine that's actually quite cool is there's 3 of these arrays. There's 3 of these big satellite, dishy, pointy, uppy things. Yeah, I've described that very well. So there's 3 of these lot, and one of them by now belongs to the Enclave. Oh, hello, you're a giant rad scorpion. Oh, blimey! Blimey McGiblets, what? Oh, yes, of course. You know what, I'm just going to go in the front door. I'm just going to go in the front door. So there's 3 of these big satellite things. By now, one of them belongs to the Enclave, one of them belongs to Raiders, and one of them belongs to Talon Company. So, we shot the civilian a while back. There was just a Wastelander in a lab coat type thing. And she has some very good stuff. One, she's got the coordinates for the other 2 satellite arrays. One of which, as I say, is now held by Raiders. One of which is held by the Enclave. I think before the Enclave entered the game, it's also held by Raiders, the other one. Scientist outfit, don't need that. But we've also got High Water Trousers activation code. Don't know if that's, like, supposed to sound really cool and badass. I think it sounds ridiculous, but never mind. Good old High Water Trousers activation code. So with those codes in hand, just head up to the top like we've done before. And obviously we know we've got mercs waiting for us up here. Mercs with knives, unfortunately for them. They had missile launchers, but if you get too close they won't use them, even if it would still be logically by far their best option. So, head up to the final level before you reach the actual top, and you will find this satellite control terminal. Sadly, you can't enter new positioning data, that is just broken, but you can upload the High Water Trousers activation code. And that is now commencing launch, whatever that means. So yes, if we then just keep an eye out, we'll see that there are a whole range of little mini nuclear missiles falling from the skies and destroying the ground around you. Incidentally, you can leave a companion. Those always hit the same spot, so you can just leave a companion there, and it's a good way to kill a companion, but sadly, I have no companions left to kill. They're all already dead. So that's just for show. It's just a fun little thing. I think it's really easy to miss because there's 3 of these things and 2 of them don't do that. It's really easy just to miss them because, like, I treat these things kind of like I treat metros, which is I very often just won't come into them because there's not that much of interest here. But I don't know. I just think it's a lovely little thing that Fallout 3 had thematically. That there were multiple instances where you could just kind of casually fire off weapons of mass destruction, whether it was setting off the nuke in Megaton or triggering the intercontinental ballistic missile in Fort Constantine or causing that orbital bombardment there. There's just multiple times you can just take old world nuclear technology and just, yeah, fire it. Just fire weapons of mass destruction, even if, yeah, you had no particular reason to, just because you could. Maybe it's just me, but I actually find something quite chilling about it. Kind of, it's a beautiful bit of, again, storytelling without any actual script. That there's these horrific weapons of mass destruction that you just press a button and you basically fire them half by accident. It's so easy to unleash nuclear annihilation. I think it's kind of a really lovely touch. Genuinely, I think it's kind of one of my favourite little bits of Fallout 3. That there's all these weapons of mass destruction you can just fire. Yup, that done, there is another area that I need to visit that is actually very close by to this one, and I think you all know what this is. Oh wow, Deathclaw versus Albino Rad Scorpion. I don't even know who wins that one. Well, I do for a start. Didn't know that. Apparently a fight between an albino rad scorpion and a Deathclaw. The Deathclaw will win. I would have thought the albino rad scorpion won, given that, of course, was an enemy that was added by the Broken Steel add-on to create a tougher challenge for really high-level players. Whereas Deathclaws you can meet in the base game at any point. And there is, of course, one area I could hardly not visit. After I visited Deathwind Caverns in Fallout New Vegas, obviously I had to come to the Deathclaw Sanctuary. Interesting thing about the Deathclaw Sanctuary, of course, is if you come here in the late game in Fallout 3, the Enclave have already moved in, or at least partly moved in, and you'll find a whole bunch of dead Deathclaws as well as a fair few dead Enclave on the outside of the actual caverns themselves. The inside of the caverns is pretty much the same as it was. You'll still find plenty of Deathclaws in there, but it's just a nice touch that the Enclave, obviously we know they've tried to militarise Deathclaws, so it makes sense they'd move in here to try and capture them, and a fair few will be killed on both sides. A lovely also touch I do find, there's a mercenary here that you'll find, and on his inventory he's got a large number of frag mines, which suggests that he basically tried to sneak his way in here in order just to lay mines across the front of the cave to try and keep the Deathclaws inside. Obviously that wouldn't have worked. Deathclaws don't really seem to mind frag mines, they barely even notice them. But I don't know, lovely bit of storytelling. Fallout 3 is all about the storytelling. Anyway, that done, it's time to head inside. It's time to head inside the Deathclaw Sanctuary, and there are some very good reasons why you want to do this. So let's go ahead and do that. So, standard rules apply. Your best friend is, as it has ever been, the dart gun. A Deathclaw with its legs crippled is actually pretty harmless. So you notice these Deathclaws, yeah, crippled legs go down, and then they'll go down pretty quickly. They'll go down pretty quickly anyway. So, between the stealth cloaking field thing of the Chinese stealth armour, combined with the dart gun and the other really heavy weapons that we have picked up over the course of the game, this is a much easier proposition than it would be if you were dealing with Fallout New Vegas. There's also a nuclear Tesla in you, which is lovely, a mini nuke, and most importantly of all, the bobblehead for endurance. That does incidentally help me a little bit. My endurance is actually at 9 at the moment and has just been raised to 10. I always have to worry about at what point I try and get that in the main game, because obviously it's arguable that you want to really try and get that as early as possible, like all of the special bobbleheads. I mean, intelligence most of all, but all of them you want to get as early as possible. So, yeah, at what point I dare to try and sneak into the Deathclaw Sanctuary is very questionable. Also, I question the name Deathclaw Sanctuary. That implies that we're intentionally keeping these things alive, and I don't see why anyone would be choosing to do that. This is more like where the Deathclaws hide. This is the Deathclaws' hiding spot. This is where reinforcements come from. So, we've spotted a Deathclaw. Standard rules apply. Straight away, hit it with a dart gun, back away. We're cloaked with the Chinese armour, so it's not going to see us, but it is now crippled. Switch to something powerful enough to take it out, and focus on the head. And it goes down, nice and easy. Back to dart gun, and repeat our way through this area. But obviously, I'm not just here for the challenge of it, because actually Deathclaws are one of the lesser challenging things these days, because, you know, dark, scary caves now actually work very much to my advantage, interestingly. Now my character loves dark, scary caves. Dark, scary caves means I can stay hidden more. Okay, so you're rejoining me a little bit deeper in. We've been using the same old strategy to get as far as we've got to date. And we are, let me just get my map up. We are right here in the caves, fairway in. You'll know you're in the right place when you have found a giant ant, which is a rather strange thing. But then you'll find also a massive pile of corpses. Now, very carefully, have a pick your way through the corpses. And you'll also find an Enclave officer at the back of this pile of corpses. And this Enclave officer is holding Jack. Jack's the unique variant of the Ripper. Let's just repair it up quickly. Again, it's another interesting unique weapon. So the basic Ripper has a base damage of 47. Jack, fully repaired, also has a base of 47. The reason why you might well be interested in Jack is because Jack has a high critical rate versus the normal Ripper. Now, because Jack is a melee weapon that kind of works like a chainsaw, as a result, there's a very strange factor in this that means that Jack ends up being one of the most ridiculously overpowered weapons in the whole game. Which I know sounds a bit odd, but trust me on this one, and we'll show it off in a second. But we've also found the location of a second amazingly powerful super weapon, which is when you get to this pool of, this pool of blood actually, which is something you can just drink. You can, in fact, yeah, Evil Jon's down for that. Yep, have a quick drink, lovely. What we will find is vengeance. Sometimes we're actually quite lucky. Sometimes that gets stuck in the pool and things go very badly wrong with vengeance. So vengeance is the Gatling laser, and our normal Gatling laser has a damage 294, as is written here. Vengeance 349. It's a big step up. Vengeance is amazing. So this is vengeance. Here you go. Yeah, that was Deathclaw. Just died. Magnificent. I don't think we even really need to be stealth anymore, quite frankly. So that's the Deathclaw Sanctuary, and I'm going to be honest. Next to New Vegas, the rewards are excellent, but the difficulty is a lot lower. It's a lot easier, this Deathclaw Sanctuary versus Deathwind Caverns in New Vegas. So that's just my view, anyway. Yeah, I just think it's so much easier to do this particular cave, just because Deathclaws are much less trouble, especially when the Dark Gun exists in this world. So. Yeah, that's that. But the rewards are amazing. Jack is the single best melee weapon in the game, if you're using it correctly. And Vengeance is just wonderful. It's just wonderful. Oh, I think here comes a member of the Enclave. I think a member of the Enclave is back at camp and wants to have a fight. Yeah, that's what Vengeance does. That was a Hellfire Armour trooper. Yep, Hellfire Armour. That is... Those are the elite special force Enclave troops the game added in to make it a bit more difficult. And that's what Vengeance does to those guys. Oh, Vengeance is just wonderful. It's just wonderful. I need to do more with it. So that's Vengeance, possibly my favourite weapon in the game. Oh, it's just wonderful. Between, yeah, the terrible shotgun and Vengeance and the victory rifle, those are just some fantastic weapons. And Jack is situational. Jack is situational, but it's still amazingly powerful. But I am aware I said I was going to test Jack on a Deathclaw, but unfortunately I figured out that Deathclaw I just tested Vengeance on was, in fact, the last Deathclaw. I'd already killed them all. So, I know I owe you a testing of Jack. And that will happen next time, because next time, I need to finish off a few of the last survivors of the Wasteland. There's still a few of them, and particularly what impact Jack has when it is introduced to Gary. So next time we're heading to Vault 108, and it is Jack meets Gary, and that should be interesting. That'd be interesting. So yes, here we are coming up on Vault 108, and that's coming up next time. In the meantime, I've been John, this has been Many a True Nerd, and this has been Fallout 3 Kill Everything with locations of some of my very favourite weapons. Thank you very much, and goodbye.